Welcome back to the Rebuilt Parish podcast. Wow, today you are in for a treat as you get to hear from Sammy, who is all about taking care of the entire family at Church of the Nativity. She's been a part of the NextGen team for a long time, but welcoming families and making them feel like a part of the church from the moment they walk in the door is something she is so passionate about. And I can't wait for you to learn from her today. Our focus is all about making families feel welcome through Advent and Christmas Eve, but let me tell you what, she also has some great tidbits for you through the entire year. So make sure to tune in and listen to the whole thing. Well, hey, Sammy, thank you so much for joining us on the podcast today.
Hello, Melissa. I'm so excited to be here. Thank you for having me.
Of course. Well, we are talking about how we can help welcome families during Advent and Christmas. And as we set people up for that conversation, I would love for you to share with our listeners, what do you do in your role at Nativity?
Yes, so my primary role is Quest, which is our elementary school small group program. So I write that content, coordinate our ministers, communicate with parents and kids. But on top of that, I've added the director of parent and family engagement to my role here. So I just really have a passion for the whole family, not just the kids, not just the parents. So trying to make sure that we're connected with the whole family as well as the kids and parents.
So, ladies and gentlemen, we are bringing in the subject matter expert when it comes to engaging the whole family. So we are so excited to have you here. So since you do such a great job of welcoming not just the kids, but the whole family at church, can you just share with us what a typical welcome looks like for a family of all ages and sizes?
Yes, so it is very important to not only focus on the kids and not only focus on the parents, but to see them as the whole family. When kids are coming into the church on Sunday mornings, they're typically with their parents or their family members. So you want to make sure that you connect with them off the bat, not just one or the other. I love to be right in the front of the lobby. We have our NextGen lobby, which is where most of our kids end up coming. Most of our families come in through those doors. So that's the first place that they connect with Nativity on the weekends. So to be there, welcoming them, calling out the kid by name, welcoming the parents as well, getting down on the kids' level, making sure that they're excited to be there. If they're new, you pretty typically know right off the bat if it's their first time, and that's a great opportunity to walk them a little bit further down the hallway to where we'll get registered and checked in. Otherwise, if there are typical families, you give them that initial welcome and they know what they're doing. So they go to the check-in. The kids honestly know what they're doing more than the parents. So the kids head over, grab their name tags, and they know where to go for their programs. But it definitely is super important to connect with the parents and the kids and siblings, all of the things, so that everybody feels comfortable, because it's not only important to make sure the kids are comfortable, but also the parents are comfortable, because parents aren't going to want to send their kids somewhere that they're not comfortable, and kids aren't going to want to go somewhere that their parents aren't comfortable with.
Absolutely. Well, what else do you do to create that atmosphere that makes families, especially those visitors, feel like they belong at the parish?
Yes, so we have our NextGen welcome desk, which is just a desk that we moved right into the NextGen lobby, because we have our traditional welcome desk down on the concourse. But this way, it's a specific desk with all the information that you might need for kids and families. So when people come in, that desk is there. We make sure that right when they walk in, they can get all the answers that they need. They can get registered, so that then once they do start the process down the long hallway to all of our kids' programs, they're just like everybody else. So they get their name tag for their child by the time they walk down to All Stars, our preschool program, or into Quest, our elementary school program. Their kids are just like everybody else. They're seeing what all the other parents are doing. The kids get their name tag, the parent gets the pickup slip, the kid goes in. It's a very typical experience for everybody. You'll also notice that we're welcoming everybody, not just our new guests, not just our returning guests, so that everybody has that same experience of the excitement of the first person they see in the green shirt, excited to see them.
Oh, that's so good. Okay, now I want to just know a little bit more about this. So, first, tell us about the green shirts, and then I want to know more about this welcome desk and what happens.
Yes, so our green shirts are how you know that we are with NextGen with our kids' programs on the weekends. So all of staff who are on the NextGen team and all of our ministers wear these green Nativity NextGen shirts. This way the kids and families know that we are who they're supposed to be with. We are excited to be with them. They can kind of identify us from a big crowd. So that's the main reason for that. And you'll see that in all of our programs. So if kids are in Time Travelers, the Children's Liturgy of the Word, their ministers are wearing the green shirts. If they are in All Stars as little kids, they're wearing the green shirts. So it kind of establishes this trust with the kids that they know when they come to church, the people who care for them and who are teaching them and supporting them are wearing these green shirts from the time that they first come when they're 6 weeks old all the way up until fourth grade. They know to see those green shirts. It's also helpful for us to spot our ministers and our other staff members on the weekend, especially in a sea of a lot of kids and families and just everybody moving around.
That is such a great idea. Now tell me, how does that translate then into Christmas Eve when you're in a different location? Do you still have your next gen team wear the green shirts?
Yes, everybody is still wearing the green shirts. So we're in a new location for the kids, but the kids still know that we are wearing our green shirts. We have some ministers who will put on their cute little Christmas outfits and just will make sure that they have their green shirt over top. We'll add some fun Christmas like lights and headbands and stuff. But yep, the green shirts stay with us everywhere. I have grown to enjoy the green shirts. Sometimes I wish that I could dress in some other things, but it is so important because the kids know us as the people that they see at church wearing those green shirts. Sometimes to the point where if I see a kid out of the church environment and I'm not wearing a green shirt, they get a little bit confused because it's not Miss Sammy in a green shirt.
It's kind of like their teachers, right? When they see their teacher outside of school, they're like,
Exactly.
wait, you don't live at the school?
Exactly.
Wait, you don't always wear a green shirt, Sammy?
Exactly.
That's perfect. Well, what I love about that is that you give them that consistency, but then also when you have people that are new coming on Christmas Eve, they see everyone in their green shirts. They can identify, oh, okay, look at all of these people that are going to be here taking care of my kids. This is awesome. But then taking it a step further, then if they are a visitor Christmas Eve and choose to join after that, which is our hope for them, right? That they have such a great Christmas Eve experience. They come back and they see that consistency. You're in your green shirts again. That, oh, wow, I can always expect this level of care for my kids.
Exactly. So Christmas Eve at the fairgrounds is a different environment for all of us, not just for the kids and families. It's a different environment for us as staff and ministers. So it's important to keep that consistency as much as we can, not only for the kids and families, but for us as well.
I love that. Well, so talk to us a little bit more about how you get the kids excited about this, about that welcome. What do you do with this welcome desk? I heard something about birthdays. That's something that one of our team members was telling me, was that her kids are so excited to come to church on their birthday. Tell us about what happens with that.
Yes. So when I was kind of thinking about what we can do with this next gen desk, not only as a place where people can get information because people always have questions and it's helpful to be able to get that information right then and there. But I also wanted it to be a place where we could make sure that we're connecting with all of our families, not just our new families. So I was thinking about how we could guarantee that we would connect with every child at least once during the year on that level of maybe with a staff member or a particular minister outside of their actual programs or small groups. And this is where I thought of birthdays. Every child has a birthday and every child enjoys to be celebrated on their birthday. So that's where we kind of came up with our birthday station at the Next Gen desk. This also establishes a relationship with the parents of maybe they didn't even know what the Next Gen desk was and that they could ask questions when they come there. So it's kind of a 2-for-1 deal where we get to connect with those kids, make them feel special, but then also connect with the parents. So the week before the child's birthday, we have a sign in the lobby that says, "Is it your child's birthday? Come visit us." The child gets to come up and they're normally so excited to tell you, like, "My birthday's on Tuesday and I'm turning 10. And whoever the minister or staff member is connects with that child. If they don't know how old they're turning, they ask them. They ask them if they want to celebrate their birthday quietly together or loudly, because some of our friends don't want all of that attention. Some of our friends love the attention. So if they want to do it quietly, we just kind of whisper, sing happy birthday to them. If they want to do it loudly, we announce it to the other people in the space, because there are typically a few families, other ministers just moving around. That NextGen lobby is a pretty busy place to be on the weekends. So we'll celebrate that loudly. They'll get to pick a present that they'll only get one of these 3 things that we have. They get to choose the 3 things. Those are only offered on your birthday. So they'll never see somebody at church getting that unless it's their birthday. So it really makes them feel special. And they'll get a sticker. During that time, you'll also kind of get to connect with the parents and just get to know them. It gives you an opportunity to talk to them. A lot of times we don't get to talk to the parents on the weekends because they're dropping off their kids, they're going to mass, and they're invested in mass while we're invested in their kids during mass. And then the pickup time is quick and busy, but this also shows the parents that we're invested in paying attention to their families and that we're excited to celebrate their child's birthday.
Oh, that's so great. That I love that idea. And I know that there have got to be people jotting that idea down right now because they want to bring that to their parishes. Now, tell us how you bring that same sense of welcome on Christmas Eve once the families are at Mass.
Yes, so we have multiple different options on Christmas Eve. We understand that it is a new environment. It's a big space. It can be overwhelming for lots of people, especially little kids. So we have options to make sure that we're able to welcome your family in the stage and comfortable in like the level that you're at and how you're comfortable with your kids going into programs. So we have 3 things. We have our family-friendly seating, which is a section directly in the sanctuary. This is a place where families of all ages, kids of all ages can go sit with their parents. They're in the Mass, but it's a space where we have little tables so the kids can play and color while the parents are in Mass. If kids are fussy or making noise, it's expected and understood and totally okay because the kids are there with their parents. So that's kind of our first level of, if you want to come to church with your family and that's the most comfortable you are, of like you want to keep your kids with you during that time, that's great. We love it. We have ministers there during that time to kind of float around. We'll play with some of the kids during that time if parents are really engaged in Mass. But that is where parents stay with their children in the sanctuary. Then we have Jingle Jam, which is the biggest thing on Christmas Eve for our kids. Kids get so excited for Jingle Jam. They cannot wait to go. This is typically our kids who are in elementary school. Sometimes we get some younger kids. Sometimes we get some older kids. This is the equivalent to time travelers here at church. During our pre-show, there'll be some sort of precursor to it saying, like, if you see a crowd minister around you or a Jingle Jam guide, go ahead and tell them that you're a kid and you're super excited to come to Jingle Jam with us during Mass. That way the kids meet their Jingle Jam guide before they go into the space.
Oh my gosh, that's genius.
Yes. So they are still with their parents. Their parents are getting them excited about it. Their parents are comfortable with it. They're meeting that minister, making sure that they have all that they need. The minister is explaining to them what's going to happen when the message comes on over the broadcast that tells you that it's time for you to come with us to Jingle Jam. You'll look around and you'll find me and you'll stay with me the whole time. We'll go in and have a lot of fun, and then I'll bring you back to your parents. So that is also typically the exact same way how we do it here every single weekend. So it shows that consistency for our kids who come every weekend, who are like, great, this is just like we're at church. We're just in a new space, but also gives the new families and new kids the comfort and confidence of, okay, I'm going to be with this person. They're going to walk me from my parents to this space that we're going into, and then they're going to walk me back from that space after we finish having fun back to my parents, and it's expected and they understand what's happening. And then finally
I was just going to say, what I love about that is that you're making those families just feel so comfortable, especially because, you fit like 6,000 people at the Cow Palace, and you're not getting 6,000 during one Mass on a regular Sunday. So all of those families that are extra and new, you're just kind of taking away that barrier that maybe would have prevented those kids from engaging in the program. That's incredible.
Exactly. And it's super helpful for the kids to see that all the kids are doing it. So even if they're new and they've never been to Nativity before, they're seeing that all the other kids in their section are getting the same marking on their hands. So we know what section they're in. They're getting their glow bracelet. They're doing the exact same thing. So that when it is time to hear the message where they're saying, come on, kids, like it's time for us to go to Jingle Jam, the kids see all the other kids and they're like, great, we're all doing it together and we're all going to Jingle Jam. So kind of establishing that before Mass and letting the kids know what to expect when they do hear that announcement, then everybody's ready to go and make that transition.
Oh my gosh, that's incredible. That's incredible. Well, let's talk about how are you getting those families to that Christmas Eve Mass? What are you doing that's special during Advent to get those kids excited? Because I can only imagine after working in the church world that some people are maybe a little hesitant to go to a different location or to experience something a little bit different for Christmas Eve. So how do you get the kids and whole families excited about that transition?
Yes, so it's definitely a different experience. Like I said, it's different for us as staff and ministers. So, of course, it's different for our kids and families. We kind of take multiple approaches to making sure that everybody's comfortable. So, we'll start a few weeks in advance from a big church perspective of giving people maps and logistics and helping them kind of get familiar with the space and where things are going to be, where they're going to park. All of those things, get them familiar with it before the day of Christmas Eve when they're driving on to the fairgrounds campus, when most of them have really only ever been to the fairgrounds for the Maryland State Fair. So it's going to look very different to them, but kind of giving them those logistical handouts and just explaining to them a little bit how it's going to go, maybe showing some pictures of what things are going to look like. So that's more geared towards the parents of this is what you can expect. If you're bringing your kid to All Stars at Christmas Eve at the Cow Palace, this is where you're going to walk in, and then you're going to see this, that, and the other, and you're going to turn down this hallway and see it. Just kind of giving them that prep of nobody really wants to go into anything blindly, but especially on Christmas Eve when you're trying to get your kids ready for Mass and you're trying to get yourself ready and you're trying to coordinate the grandparents and the aunts and uncles and getting everybody there, that you want to make sure that those people feel comfortable and confident with where they are. But it's also important to make sure that the kids are excited because the parents are going to respond to the kids being excited. If the kids are super excited and saying, we want to go to church on Christmas Eve because we want to go to Jingle Jam, that'll give the parents the motivation to bring their kids. So all throughout Advent, we're talking about Jingle Jam the whole time. We're getting kids excited because kids don't know what Jingle Jam is unless we tell them. So every week in Time Travelers and in Quest, we're talking about Jingle Jam. We're saying we can't wait to celebrate with you guys. We get to see you every week on Sundays, but this is something special and we get to all be together on Christmas Eve. You'll see some of the same people, but there's this really cool story that we're going to dive into, and we'll learn more about celebrating Jesus and all those things. And something that I really love to do is we have Santa come. He sacrifices his time and come visits us every single year in December and visits all of our kid programs. And Santa makes sure to ask the kids if they're planning to come to Jingle Jam. So if Santa's telling them that Jingle Jam is super fun and that we should be going, then the kids are probably going home and telling their parents that they really want to go to Jingle Jam. So kind of a balance of getting the kids super excited about it and saying, being like, oh my gosh, it might snow. We have all these fun things. And then making the parents feel comfortable of understanding, even if a kid comes back after church and saying, Mom, I want to go to Jingle Jam. If the parent has no idea what Jingle Jam is, they're going to be like, okay, sure. Like we'll figure it out. But that's why we give these handouts and logistic sheets that clearly explain what Jingle Jam is and where it is.
And Sammy, that's once again removing those barriers of entry for the families, right? So I love that you give them those logistics and the maps and all of the information they need to kind of take that unknown out for them. But then also, I think the part where you're just getting the kids hyped up and getting them excited about, oh my gosh, you have to be there for Jingle Jam. It's so fun. Like kind of that fear of missing out for them. Now that's like everybody wants to go. That's so exciting.
Exactly. And something that's super cool that kind of comes from that is kids will bring their friends or their family members who maybe are a little bit more unchurched or not familiar with it, because the kids are on the soccer field or at a family party and talking about Jingle Jam and talking about how they're super excited to go to their church on Christmas Eve, or just that Santa came to church and visited us, and these things that they're excited about that the kids don't even realize that they are making disciples and sharing things with other kids and kind of incorporating that. So we'll see a lot of like, oh, this is my friend from soccer, or these are my cousins from out of state, and they decided to join us on Christmas Eve. And a lot of that is because of the kids. The kids are excited and they want to share it with their friends.
Oh, that is beautiful right there. The kids are the one driving other people to come to mass, and they're being little disciples out there. And that's exactly what we want. We want to be a parish that is making disciples of all ages. That's incredible. So, what can you tell another parish that maybe they are unsure of how they can connect with their families coming in at Mass, especially those maybe unchurched or dechurched families?
Yeah, so I definitely would first plan that there are going to be people coming in who have not been here. Sometimes it can be intimidating. You're going into the month of December, leading up to Christmas, or any busy season in the church. And the last thing you want to think about is adding more people onto that, of like, we just need to be able to feed into and pour into our normal everyday parishioners and families. How are we going to be able to respond to having more people? But I feel like the first line of defense there is to just expect that people are going to come, and that is our goal. That's what we want. We want more and more families and kids to join our programs, even if it might be a little bit stressful at particular times. So first off, I would make sure to prepare, expect that our numbers are going to go up, and that's great. A lot of people do start coming back to church around Christmas time because of Advent, and that's when we should really be ready for them. So something that I like to do is keep things pretty consistent and typical, not having any huge things that like only the insiders would know about during Advent, so that we can be prepared for those people who are coming in for the first time. And this is what they see, and this is what we do. And their kids are free to do all the same things that the other kids are doing. So there's not those like insider, like, oh, they started this project and my kids weren't part of it. So just keeping things standard and typical while expecting those new friends and families to join us.
That's so wise right there, because we want them to feel like insiders right away. We want them to feel welcome, because ultimately we want them to keep coming back.
Exactly. And if you don't want them to feel too much like the new people either when they come in, you want to welcome them and connect with them and make them feel welcomed, of course, but you don't want them to feel like we're doing all these things just because you're new, or we're making sure that your kids are super comfortable and we're staying with them for the entire time just because you're new. We want them to come in and feel like this is what we do. This is what we provide. This is the level of hospitality that we provide every week. So that might mean not doing too much like over the top for those families, but also not enough every week, that consistency. So just kind of letting them feel like right when they come in, we're ready for you. We were planning for you. We're so excited that you're here, and now you're part of our family here. So we're going to help you feel comfortable and get you set up in the community.
Oh my gosh, Sammy, I think everybody could benefit from implementing some of these very simple strategies you've talked about today, from making the whole family feel welcome from the moment they walk in through the door, making them feel like they're a part of something. And then when they come back, they realize, wow, this consistency happens every single week. And that's building trust with them too, where it does just make them feel more welcome, and they will keep coming back. That's so good.
Exactly. It's super important for not just the kids. I mean, everybody loves a little consistency in their life, but especially kids. So to keep that consistency and show them that we are a place where we will continuously show up for them, show them that they're loved and cared for, and that every single week they can count on us.
So good. Well, Sammy, do you have any final thoughts or resources that you want to share with our listeners today?
My last little thing, which I forgot to mention earlier about our birthdays, is that not only do they come to our birthday station at the NextGen desk, but I also write a handwritten birthday postcard at the beginning of each week for all of our kids who have a birthday in our parish that week. It kind of averages to like 20, 25 kids every week. And that goes to them before their birthday. So they're receiving that card being like, oh my goodness, Miss Sammy and the NextGen team are thinking about me. Their parents maybe see that and they're like, wait, there's a sign at church that says, does your child have a birthday this week? Come visit us. So maybe that's inspiring families to prioritize church for that weekend because they want their kid to feel celebrated. It also helps me and some of our other ministers know and have that connection with the child. So if I wrote a birthday card on Monday morning for a particular child and I see them come in the door on Sunday morning, I know, oh my goodness, don't you have a birthday coming up this week? And the kids just automatically feel like, yeah, I do. How did you know? So kind of being ahead of it a little bit prepares all of that, but making that connection.
Sammy, that is next level. And I love that so much because when I think about how hard it is, first of all, for families to get kids to Mass on the weekends, no matter what kind of great experience you give them, sometimes that's hard to get out the door, right? But by giving them that special personal touch where, wow, they actually care. Oh, yeah, we definitely will be there Sunday. Maybe we were gonna skip and go apple picking, but no, we are definitely going to be there. It makes that a priority, and that will then stick with them. I love that. That's awesome.
Exactly. And it's such a simple addition. It's just like, no, on Monday mornings, I come in and I write these birthday cards. And to me, I do try and pray for the child as I'm writing them, or just think more about the family. I check and see the last time that they visited church. So maybe I didn't realize this family used to come a lot and now they're not anymore. Whatever it may be, it just kind of gives us more information and more opportunities to connect with those families. And so it's super simple. You put it in the mail, and then every kid loves getting mail. Every kid has a birthday. So that guarantees that every single child is getting a piece of mail from church every single year, which is so great. And the parents acknowledge it as well.
That's incredible. Just think about what can happen I know we're focused on Advent and Christmas Eve, but I just think about what kind of change can happen and how many more disciples can be made by that one act of caring about them, praying for them, sending them that card, and then welcoming them when they come to Mass. That can be a difference maker right there. Well, Sammy, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you for encouraging our community and sharing with them. We are so grateful for you.
Thank you so much. It was great being on here today.